When it comes to folding bicycles, there's one name that deserves more credit than anyone else for putting these compact machines on the map: Dahon. So I traveled halfway around the world to learn more. Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today I'm coming to you from Shenzhen, where we're visiting Dahon at their headquarters here to learn more about the inventor of folding bikes and see some of their newest models. Come along with us while we check it out. Over the years, Dahon has been behind some of the biggest innovations that transformed folding bikes from quirky novelties into mainstream urban transportation tools. They've got headquarters in the US, Europe, and China, and it was that last one that I went to visit. I hopped a ride to Shenzhen to meet the company and its founder face to face. These days, folding bikes are an integral part of city cycling. In fact, believe it or not, the best-selling electric bikes in the US are folders. But that wasn't always the case. It took one man's out-of-the-box thinking to rewrite what the world considered a proper bicycle. That man was aerospace physicist Dr. David Hahn, who founded Dahon in 1982. As a lifelong cyclist, he was frustrated by how bulky bicycles were. Sure, their size made for a good ride, but it also made transporting them, or storing them in a small apartment or office, quite a headache. So he went back to the drawing board, designing bikes that could fold down into compact packages without sacrificing strength or ride quality. The goal was simple: make bicycles fit better into an urban dweller's life. I had the chance to sit down with Dr. Hahn during my visit, but more on that in a moment. The first commercial Dahon bike hit the market over 40 years ago in 1984, and while there were already folding bikes around, they tended to be expensive, niche, and plagued by frame flex issues. Dahon aimed at the mass market instead, with bikes that were affordable, durable, and practical. From there, the company exploded, at one point claiming over 60% of the global folding bike market. They expanded to multiple factories, licensed their technology to other brands, and pushed the entire folding bike industry to get better. Faster folds, lighter frames, better ride quality, and bikes that felt more rigid like a full-size frame, yet in a small, compact form. In recent years, as electric bikes have taken off, Dahon began producing folding e-bikes. But true to form, they didn't just follow the crowd. While most companies went for heavier, more powerful models, Dahon leaned into lightweight, compact folding e-bikes. And that's exactly what I wanted to see on my tour. Inside their Shenzhen headquarters, I found teams of designers, engineers, and marketers all working in the same space. The walls were covered in bike parts, both as cool wall art and as a kind of reference library, where anyone could get up from their desk and see each of the parts they use on the bikes in real time. A walk through the office also took me into the showroom, and wow, it was packed wall to wall with what must have been over 100 bikes. Some were classic Dahon folders I recognized, others were wild new designs I'd never seen, full-size road bikes that still fold, and even a folding tricycle with a giant wooden cargo box up front. There were so many cool bikes in the showroom that you don't even realize how many there are, because every time you turn around, there's another awesome little bike folded up into a tiny shape and stuck in some cubbyhole somewhere. The first bike that caught my attention was the new Cave Feather, an electric bike weighing just 12 kilograms or 26 pounds. For an e-bike, that's insanely light. To put that in perspective, most light folding e-bikes I've ridden are nearly twice as heavy. Sure, the Cave Feather is not a high-power rocket, but it's perfect for someone who wants some pedal assist on a modest city commute, and then tuck it under their desk at work. Then I checked out the e-hemingway, basically a folding electric gravel bike. This thing is ready for bike packing or hauling big panniers on rough roads, yet it folds down into a tidy little package. The frame and fork are covered in mounting points for racks and gear, making it incredibly versatile. But the real showstopper? The new Cargo T8. This is a front-loading cargo trike with two wheels up front, also known as a tadpole design, and which is a much more stable-feeling design than two rear wheels, and it sports a massive wooden box that could easily fit two adults, which I proved during my test riding, but more on that in a couple of minutes. This cargo trike has a beefy mid-drive motor, a huge 960 watt-hour battery, an internally geared rear hub transmission, and hydraulic brakes. Oh, and yeah, it also folds up. There's even a little caster wheel that drops down when you fold it, so you can roll it around like a big piece of luggage. That'd be great for apartment dwellers that still need to fit it into an elevator and bring it upstairs each day after grocery shopping or taking the kids home from school. Walking through the showroom felt like wandering into a candy store for bike nerds. Everywhere I turned, there was another design I wanted to hop on, Sleek commuters, rugged folding mountain bikes, ultralight city zippers, and wild concept builds I'd never even imagined. Dahon clearly isn't afraid to experiment, and it was one of those rare moments where I realized I could easily have spent an entire day here and still not have tried everything that caught my eye. I even got to see the very first Dahon folding bicycle that started it all over 40 years ago. After the tour, it was time to ride. The team brought me out to the plaza and set up a number of models for me to try. I started with the e-hemingway, smooth, stiff, and surprisingly steady, even loaded with bags. It didn't have any real gravel area to test it as the true gravel bike it's intended for, but I was already surprised by how well it rode, even in this small format, and this would be a really cool way to own a gravel bike that doesn't take up as much room in your home. Next came the K-Feather, that ridiculously light e-bike at a mere 12 kilos or 26 pounds.
It's not lightweight enough. It's light as a feather.
It was nimble and ideal for someone who needs to carry their bike upstairs or tuck it onto a train car somewhere. It definitely feels different with those little 16-inch wheels, so those do take a little bit of getting used to, but it only took me a minute or so to forget how small the wheels are, and instead just enjoy the nimbleness of this light little ride that still has some nice boost power to make you forget that you're actually still pedaling yourself to work. And finally, the Cargo T8. I love cargo bikes and I'm a big fan of trikes, but what's the fun of riding these kind of e-bikes alone? So 2 members of the Dahon team kindly humored me by hopping in for a ride, letting me play house as if I was taking the kids to school. Riding it with 2 passengers in the front box was pretty awesome because it showed me A, that the trike still had plenty of power for hauling duties, and B, that it was really stable, especially since you can turn as slowly as you want. As a comfortable, easy-to-handle bike with real steering linkage to the front axle, it felt far more intuitive than other cargo trikes I've tested, especially those articulating kinds that don't have true front steering and instead just swing their tails around. I've long seen Dahon bikes riding around cities, but I rarely get a chance to try their newer electric bikes, so this was a great experience for me. It's obvious that the company has taken their innovative designs that they've honed over 40 years of experience of building better folding bikes and employed that knowledge in their pursuit of building better folding e-bikes. And to learn how they do it, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Han himself. He was able to tell me about several ways the company has innovated new designs into their bikes over the years.
We have actually, since a couple of years ago, developed a range of technology in terms of bike frame stiffness, and we call that D-Velo, Dahon Velo. And it includes about 16 patents. Many or most folding bikes are single frame, it's big stiff frames on top and for the front. And because of this, the stiffness of a folding bike generally is not that great. We found that out, and we implemented changes.
One of those changes was the technology Dahon developed called Deltec, a clever way of strengthening the frame to improve rigidity by focusing on which frame members are in compression and which are in tension.
Deltec is a stiff, hardened steel cable that goes down the underside of the triangle. So we form a front triangle where it matters most, up, down. As a result, the bike doesn't, go like this.
It looks like it might just be a part of the brakes or shifter lines, but it's actually a structural member on the frame, and that's just one of dozens of patents that have gone into these bikes over the years, making them unique from both an engineering standpoint and from the way they feel when you throw a leg over them and go for a ride, which I also had the chance to experience in depth after an invite for an evening riverside ride from the Dahon team. Though little did I know this long ride would be on good old-fashioned analog pedal bikes, a detail that was conveniently left out until the last minute.
Whew, it's been a while since I've been on a non-electric bike.
But hey, I guess a new dog can learn old tricks. By the end of my visit, standing in Dahon's showroom, surrounded by everything from tiny commuters to folding cargo trikes, it hit me. This company has not lost the spark that started it all over 40 years ago. They're still experimenting, still asking what if, still making bikes that most other companies wouldn't even try to build. Walking out of their headquarters, I felt like I'd just stepped out of a living history book on folding bikes, one that's still being written, and if the next few chapters are anything like what I saw here, I can't wait to see what folds out next. Thanks thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that visit here to Dahon's headquarters to learn more about their folding bikes. If you did enjoy the video, why don't you give it a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.